rejected any
People
movement
love bringing up like,
participating
oh, well,
also
Assad's a bad
to
guy
shoulder
too.
its
Yes.
responsibility in the maintenance of international
This is true.
security and
Or people will be
putting
like,
an end
Iran is a bad
to
regime.
Israel's
True.
crimes
But it's
and
like, bro,
holding it
those are
accountable.
not our allies. You know that, right?
The behavior
Like, you have
of these
no way of
countries
controlling
is
their
nothing new.
behavior.
These
You
countries
do, however,
are
ostensibly have a
rebelling
way to control
for
Israel's behavior.
over
Those
7.5
guys being bad
decades.
does not give Israel credence
The United
or
Nations
moral
from
or any kind of like moral grounding to behave in the way that they're behaving. Israel is our ally. Israel cannot exist in the violent ways that they exist in without our unconditional support. It's so weird. It's just, it always is pure copium from NATO Andes to be like, oh, well, Assad is bad. Assad is bad. Assad is bad. And it's like, this has nothing to do with us. We are not giving Assad weapon systems so that he can laser his own population in the way that we are giving Israel weapon systems, guided munitions, F-15s, F-35s, F-15s, fighter jets, Mark 84 rockets. Like, there's no comparison. You know what I mean?
and any additional escalation that threatens peace and security in the region. Syria stresses that our region has suffered enough from the violations perpetrated by the Zionist entity and the U.S. administration and its allies, violations of international law and the principles and purposes of the Charter. The time has come to take serious action where these states reconsider
Yeah, Assad is bad, which is why we have our colony annexes land and our multinationals occupy 80% of its oil fields. Exactly. Does that seem like a decent
state to immediately and unconditionally
because that is American
rectify
policy
these
currently.
policies, including through imposing an immediate halt to the Israeli aggression on the Palestinian people and countries in the region. The states must guarantee full and unimpeded humanitarian access, and they must put an end to the intentional starving of the people of Gaza. Moreover, there must be an end to the illegitimate military presence of U.S. forces on the territory of my country, Syria. We must put an end
The Moroccan
to the
atheist
systemic
YouTubers think you're a little too
looting
easy on Islamic
of
countries.
our
As a
national
fan, I am
wealth.
tilted.
We must put a stop to the
I
sponsoring
mean, they can suck my
of
dick.
terrorist
I don't care.
organizations and separatist militias.
I know.
We demand
I know how that shit works, bro. I was way more fucking r/atheism adjacent when I lived in Turkey. I know, because you're angry at the enemies that you see among your ranks. When you grow up in Morocco and you have Islamist fundamentalists around you that are making your lives worse, you are going to develop a way more rugged, way more fucking rigid attitude about Islam, and you're going to be way more fucking aggro about that. In the Western world, it is not Islam that is the guiding motivator for a lot of reactionary thinking. The fundamentalism comes from Christianity. The problem is when you have people who think that the Islamist fundamentalists are representative of Islam as a whole because that's all you've seen in your country. Morocco is pretty chill Islam-wise. I know it's not Islamist, but it doesn't matter. Turkey's not Islamist either. Turkey has never been an Islamist fundamentalist country, and yet Recep Tayyip Erdogan is. So it doesn't matter. A country not being fundamentalist in the same way that Iran is, for example, in its leadership, does not change the reality that there are plenty of right-wing fundamentalists that are fucking up your life on a daily basis with their advocacy, sometimes with their control. That's what I'm saying. People see those who fuck up their lives and understandably get mad at that and understandably are way more edgy about their perspective. There's an in-group, out-group dynamic here at play that many YouTubers, I guess, don't fully comprehend. I duke it out with a lot of the Turkish chatters in here all the time as well under the exact same terms. That's part of the reason why many of the Turkish chatters sometimes when they come in here will falsely smear me and claim that I am actually a Islamist or a Fethullah Gülen supporter. It's ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. Those very same Turkish chatters will sometimes also call me gay or the Turkish F word because I paint my fucking fingernail. I could not be further away from Islamist fundamentalism. If you were to listen to my advocacy, you would understand that. In the Western world, there's a very different dynamic. In the Western world, there is religious suppression, okay? There is a lot of religious suppression for Muslims. The Western world is very Islamophobic. The Western world is very anti-Arab, anti-Muslim, anti-MENA overall. So when I'm making an advocacy for religious freedoms, like protecting religious freedoms, a lot of people that are in Turkey misunderstand that for my advocacy for Islamist fundamentalism or something. I believe in allowing people the freedom to practice whatever religion they want to as long as it doesn't harm others. The very moment that you start trying to enforce rules and restrictions on other people on the virtue of religion, whether it be abortion in the United States of America or whether it be anti-LGBTQ legislation, well, that's a moment where I'm 100% against you. Okay, you're just admitted you're gay. I am not. Ask your mom. I fucked her. Well, I fucked her dad too, honestly, just for funsies, just to prove a point. He really wanted it. Anyway, let's continue.
Replacing it with the law of the jungle, with wars, and with instability. Syria is a founding member of the United Nations and continues to believe in this organization, in its principles, in its purposes. And we wish for it to undertake its role in maintaining international peace and security and in dealing with the root causes of the challenges that our country is facing, namely the Israeli occupation, which is an impediment to the peace and security.
Don't worry,
in
I
our
topped your dad. It's
and the
not
prosperity
gay.
Of our peoples. I thank you, Madam
Your
President.
dad is gay, though, for
I
bottoming.
thank the representative of the Syrian Arab Republic. There are no more names inscribed on the list of speakers. The meeting is adjourned.
I do think that Israel wants to do a attack on Iranian soil, claiming that they're going to hit like nuclear facilities or whatever, which would be a severe escalation in the form of retaliation, even though they hit the first strike on the Iranian soil already on the Iranian embassy. This would be the only thing worse than hitting an Iranian embassy, would be hitting Iranian soil directly. What the fuck is happening here? I get it. The update is complete. HasanAbi, Amerikalı beyazlar beni kızdırmaya başlıyor. Okay, this is definitely a Google Translate chatter, I think. The importance of the Iranian rep speaking in English is that is to show the rest of the world that's watching the fucking UN Security Council that like they understand the ways of the West. They speak the language perfectly, which they do. That guy most likely, much like many of the other leaders in the MENA region or in Iran or even in Afghanistan, probably got Western or Westernized education. Many people don't recognize that. Many people don't realize that. It is that reason why, like Assad, I'm pretty sure Assad like is an optometrist that went to school in the UK. So many of those dudes literally go to college in the UK. So many of them study in the US. So many of them study in the UK. They get their higher education. It is the equivalent of fucking eating a McDonald's sandwich or something to get you to understand that they understand the Western world. Ophthalmologist?